She hit the hard earth so fast she barely felt the pain at first. Then it came, sharp, burning, alive. The canyon floor swallowed her scream before the wind could carry it away. Warm blood soaked through her torn shirt where jagged rock had bitten deep into her side. She tried to crawl, fingers slipping through dust and sage. The world spun, a haze of pain and fear. Her name was Evelyn Marsh, daughter of a mapmaker from Virginia, 23 years old and lost somewhere between Laramie Ridge and the Devil's Backbone. She'd followed a faint glimmer of silver in the cliffs too far from her wagon camp. Now she was alone, bleeding, and miles from anyone who might care. The sun above burned cruel and merciless. Every breath scraped her throat dry. When she tried to rise, fire shot through her hip and she collapsed beside a fallen cedar. She gasped, half sob, half curse, tasting blood and dust. Then a sound. Boots. Slow and heavy. Her heart froze as she turned her head. A figure on horseback stood against the dying light. The man dismounted, his shadow long and silent. Dust curled around him like smoke. He looked carved out of the land itself, weathered, broad-shouldered, eyes cold as winter. He didn't say a word. Evelyn's body shook, torn between terror and desperate hope. Then she saw the blood spilling through her fingers. She was fading fast. Her voice came out as a cracked whisper. "I took it off. Easy now." She peeled away the shredded fabric from her hip, trembling as cool air hit the wound. The stranger knelt beside her without a word, tore a strip from his coat and pressed it firm against her side. She bit down hard, eyes wet, as he tied the cloth tight. The silence between them was thick, the kind that made your heartbeat sound too loud. A horse snorted behind him. Somewhere out there, coyotes cried to the evening. Her vision blurred, but she caught the stranger's face then. Rugged jaw, stubble rough as gravel, eyes calm and steady. She wanted to ask who he was, but her throat only managed a breathless sound. He lifted her with surprising gentleness, one arm under her shoulders. "Can you walk?" "I think so." "Then move." They stumbled through the trees, shadows swallowing their steps. Behind them, the red sun dipped low, painting the forest blood dark. Evelyn looked back once, her blood on the cedar bark, a mark of where she might have died. If this man hadn't appeared, she would have vanished into the dirt, just another lost soul swallowed by the west. The cabin appeared like a ghost between the rocks. Half its roof had caved, and smoke whispered from a crooked chimney. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of smoke, whiskey, and loneliness. He pointed toward a chair. "Sit." She sank down, dizzy from pain. The man crossed the room, filled a tin cup from a water barrel, and handed it to her. His rough fingers brushed hers, warm, calloused, real. She drank. It tasted like iron and dust, but it might as well have been heaven. When he lit a lamp, the room changed. The glow revealed an old saddle, a rifle leaning against the wall, and, pinned to a beam, a stack of wanted posters. Her breath caught, the face on top, same jaw, same eyes, same man standing before her. He noticed her stare, Without a word, he tore the poster down, tossed it into the fire. The flames devoured his face. Outside, the wind shifted, carrying the faint smell of something burning, not wood, something else. Evelyn turned to the window. "Wildfire?" she asked. He shook his head. "Not tonight." He grabbed a bucket and stepped outside, his movements sharp, deliberate. She followed, leaning on the doorway for balance. Below them, the prairie glowed gold and red under the last light. Dry, dangerous. He looked out across it like a man who could read the land better than words. One spark. That's all it takes. She didn't know if he meant the grass or himself. He turned to her again. "You should rest. Morning's a long way off." She wanted to ask his name, to thank him, but something in his silence told her not to. As she lay on the cot, the last thing she saw was the firelight dancing in his eyes that had seen too much and trusted too little. Her body slept, but her mind wouldn't. It whispered the same question over and over. Who was he, and what darkness followed him here? She woke to scratching, not loud, but close. Her heart jumped. Pain tore through her ribs as she sat up. The fire had burned low. He was gone. His coat hung by the door, still damp from morning dew. On the small table sat an old leather journal, pages yellowed with time. Curiosity won. The first page showed a map, a canyon, and a name beside it. Reed Calloway. She whispered it like a secret. The next page made her freeze. Judge Talbot framed me. The gold buried near Iron Hollow. Don't let them find it. Her mouth drew. She was gone. The man she saved wasn't a criminal. He was the one running from one. The door creaked open. Reed stood there, quiet, unreadable. "Curiosity," he said, "is a dangerous habit." "I wasn't prying," she lied. He poured 2 cups of coffee, handed her one. "Sure you weren't." They sat in silence, the kind that hums with everything unspoken. Outside, smoke still drifted on the horizon. Finally, she asked, "That fire last night, it wasn't natural, was it?" He stared through the window, jaw clenched. "They're burning the ridge, trying to smoke me out." "Judge's men?" she whispered. He nodded once. "Talbot won't stop till I'm buried with his lies." She glanced at the journal. "Then why keep this? Why not run?" He looked at her for a long moment. "Because the truth doesn't stay buried if someone remembers it." Something in his voice cracked, like a man who'd carried guilt too long. "You don't have to do this alone," she said softly. He gave a faint smile. "Out here, everyone's alone. The trick is pretending you're not." Silence again, only the wind through the cracks. Evelyn felt something shift inside her. Not fear, not pity, trust, maybe. If you're still here listening, take a second. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what happens next in this story. And while you're at it, drop a comment telling me where you're tuning in from tonight. It keeps this campfire burning. By noon, the sky was the color of rust. Reed stood outside, scanning the valley. Evelyn joined him, limping slightly. 3 riders appeared across the flat. Dust clouds rose behind them. "They found us," he said quietly. "Can we run?" "Not far, not fast. He pointed toward an old barn near the creek. Water's low, but the ground still wet. Fire won't cross it. They hurried downhill, every step a fight against pain and gravity. Evelyn clung to his shoulder, blood seeping through the bandage again. Inside the barn, shadows and smoke hung thick. Reed ripped open a crate, revealing a small pouch wrapped in canvas. Gold glimmered. "So it's true," she breathed. He nodded, just enough to prove I didn't take the rest. Hoofs thundered outside, voices shouted. He loaded his revolver with the calm of a man who'd done it too many times. He handed her a second gun. "Ever shot one? My pa taught me to hit cans. Same thing, just louder." Her hands trembled. She aimed, fired. Dirt sprayed near a rider's boots. He veered off, cursing. He smirked. Good enough. Bullets ripped through the barn walls. He fired back, fast and sure. One outlaw dropped, then another. Flames crept down the ridge, hungry and alive. "The wind's turning," she shouted. Reed looked toward the creek. Steam hissed where the fire met wet soil. 30 seconds, maybe less. He grabbed the pouch of gold, stared at it, then did the unthinkable. He slammed it against a rock, once, twice. Coins split, bending under his fists. He tore the cloth, flung the shattered gold into the water. "What are you doing?" Evelyn cried. "Buying time," he said. "Gold can't save a soul." He kicked open the barn doors. Smoke poured in. "Mount up!" The fire roared behind them as the horse lunged into the smoke. Evelyn clung to his back, coughing, eyes burning. The air turned black and alive with heat. They broke through the other side, tumbling into ash and water, gasping for air. Behind them, the mountains burned like the gates of hell. By dawn, only smoke remained. The world was quiet, grey, still. Reed stood by the stream, face blackened with soot. Evelyn knelt, dipping her hands in the warm current. "You burned everything," she whispered. He nodded. "Sometimes that's the only way to start again." She thought about the lies, the gold, the man the world had hunted. Then she said, "You could have run." He smiled, faint and tired. "I did once. Didn't change a thing." The sun climbed, spilling new light across the ashes. For the first time, the land looked clean. Evelyn handed him back the revolver. "You're free now," she said. He looked at the gun, then at her. "Only while you're breathing." She laughed, soft, broken, real. The wind carried the smell of rain. The world didn't feel ruined anymore, just waiting. You know, sometimes the only way forward is to let the past burn and walk through anyway. What would you have done? Would you let it go or dig through the ashes? And if this story hit you somewhere deep, go ahead and like this video so more folks can find it. Don't forget to subscribe, because every story here carries a bit of the wild, a bit of the truth, and a spark of something worth remembering. Now, pour yourself another cup, take a breath, and tell me where you're listening from tonight. The West may be gone, but its echoes are still riding the wind.